2005 SXS X-Max Nagel.
Cool. So what's obviously different from stock on it?
The gearbox is a 6-speed, the subframe's been shortened, and I think the suspension's slightly different to a standard SXS, I think.
Larger radiators.
Larger radiators, there you go.
CDI.
Yeah.
Larger tank. Suspension. Stiffer frame.
He knows more than me.
And is it just as he rode it?
Apparently so, yeah. I just bought it from a gentleman in Holland, and yeah.
This is the 89 CR500 Honda that I finished building a couple of years ago as a spare. I've got a race bike pretty much identical to this, so I built a second one as a spare. And like anybody knows, you don't need a spare bike with Honda, so I thought I'd flog it on and let somebody else enjoy it. But basically, it's built brand new, everything bearing, the cranking all's brand new. So it's ready to race, and I had it at the two-stroke festival for a spare bike, didn't use it. I had it at Fox Hills festival, that's MXDN, and didn't use it there neither. So I think I may have robbed a filter out of it. So and that was about it really. So yeah, if you buy a Honda, an old one, do it properly, you don't need a spare apparently, so there we go. So basically stripped right back down to the frame. The frame was vapor blasted, powder coated, any little bits and pieces fabricated back up, and then the engine was stripped, cerakoted, the crankcases, and new bearings right through the gearbox, any gears that you could get. There's a company in Italy now that actually manufacture the gears, so if you need a gear, you can get gears now. New basket in the clutch, a new clutch, new crank. The cylinder was brand new from Honda. I think it was the last one in some American Honda factory that I managed to get my hands on. And then the depth pipe, which is a copy, I believe, from David Thorpe's factory pipe. And the only thing it hasn't got is the tailpipe. Hasn't got a depth tailpipe. These are coming from Belgium, but there is also a company now in Italy that are making a copy of the factory, but they're quite expensive, so I'm saving my pennies up, so hopefully I'll get one to go on my bike eventually. So but apart from that, and it's full titanium kit, all the nuts and bolts all supplied from .wob imports, which just speeds the job up, and it's just a better quality. And the linkage from Denton Engineering, so all billet linkage. To be fair, brand new Talon wheels, hubs, XL rims. Yeah, there isn't really, I couldn't really do a lot more than I've done, it's one of those really, but when you're doing it for yourself, it seems to get out of hand, but super enjoyable, and I don't really want to sell it, but it's one of those things, you can sell it, so it goes.
It's a Dick Mann special frame, and in 1976 when the TTs came out, he designed and rebuilt the frame kit to make the engine work better than Yamaha's frame, and this is the first one, the Mark 1 version, the first one he did to try it out.
So this is his actual bike?
This is his actual bike. This is number 2. This was sat in his private collection for 20 odd years, and it came over to England. I've had it 5 years, and it's just been sat in my office ever since.
So you're never going to ride it?
It's a one-off. It's I've got my replica one which I race, which I break, it doesn't matter. This, I'd probably destroy it if I try to race it, so it's just a garage queen, something to look at and talk about.
Did you meet Dick?
No. Huggies from Huggies Speed Shop, he knew him, he brought the bike home, I see he got it out of the museum. That's how it came to be over here. Yeah.
What is it about this bike that especially, obviously you love it because you've got a replica?
Yeah. It's just, I've never raced 4-strokes before, so I built that to have a go. And the first time I raced it last year in Scotland, and I'm sort of getting a grip of it, so I'm going to give it another go this year. And this was going to be the sort of the spare bike until I found out the history of it. And I don't want to kill it, so we just. It's more of an investment and a talking point to have in your garage and your collection.
And how different is the replica to this?
That's based on a C&J frame, so it's a complete different geometry, different tubing, similar sort of stance. They're both designed for the TT engine, but that's designed more of a full-on race bike with modern technology.
And what does that one feel like to ride?
Like a detuned 250. I'm used to riding 500 two-strokes, so it doesn't tear your arm off. You've just got to get your head round riding it in higher gears and using the torque. So it actually pulls better out of corners because it's not trying to spin the wheel, it drives and goes.
Just a Bitzer really. It's an 08 RM250 with a factory frame, factory linkage, factory tie foot pegs, Sebastian Tortelli pipe, factory triple clamps. It's got a lot of nice bits on it and a lot of bits we made look like factory bits. So it's not a real thing, but it is some of a real thing. So it's alright, it's a nice thing, I like it. And obviously I know what they're supposed to look like, so... No, because factory frame, it's got all that stuff on it. So we had to make the skid plate to fit the frame, because the lugs were already on it, and we remade the case guards. Because I've got Ricky's race bike from 05. So we're a bit bored of making Honda bits because we got all the Honda stuff. We've started making a load of Kawasaki bits because we've got Tommy and Mike riding them. So now we're starting to make some Suzuki stuff. Because once you get into the 2000s, the Hondas aren't so prevalent as they were in the 90s. So we're making a bunch of stuff. So it's all our axles, axle blocks, obviously all the titanium. The rear hubs are Talon that we've had Cerakoted and to make look like a magnesium one. Because I've got all the real stuff, so I know exactly what it's got to look like. So it was just a mule for us to make some parts really and make it look pretty and get some attraction. I like them. I'm a Suzuki man at heart.
It's a 1979 CR250. We start with just purely from the frame, and then I completely build the motor. New nicker seal, new piston, every single bearing, new clutch cases, new carb. There isn't a second-hand bit around the bike what I don't make. 43mm forks, triple clamps, 125 tank we make. This is a bit special. We got some Talon one-off hubs what were made for Mako, which we've now made, and a lot of work, brake plates, everything to fit the Honda, the only set we've done at the moment. All our new kickstart, gear levers, the footrest, my Mugen swinging arm, obviously got Olin shocks on this one. I just start with the frame on the bench and go to all my bins and put everything I've got, I make new. So everything is just about new as I can make it, and I want them on the track, so we make them to race properly. Decent suspension, like I say, 43mm forks, hard disc brake ones converted, so you've got a little bit better spec. Fresco Sisters make them direct from me in Italy. Technicel, the old school name, make all my graphics, and we do 3 or 4 different types. yeah, it's just I've gone over the top when I do my bikes, but that's what we have to do. We want them right for the track, and I don't want people really hanging them up because then they won't come back and buy the bits. But yeah.
Why 79 and not?
I've got 1980. That was only ever made in Canada. That model bike never made it to England, so they're a little bit harder to find in England. But the 250 79, with all my new electric kit and everything on, they really rev. We can make the 250 1980 almost as good, but all the racers seem to like the 78 and 79 bike. 1980 to me is more of an older person's bike because you run one more gear. So second gear in the corner, you run second, you pop into third. There was a lot of older chaps on the 1980s, but the younger kids seem to like the 79. Yeah, really good.
What is it about the Hondas? Why?
I've done them for so long now. You know, I raced them back right through the 90s, back in the Twin Shot series and everything else. It's just one thing, and then like I struggled getting the bits in the early 90s, so that was it. Had a little bit of a break when I went with Jason and we did the GPs. Come back to it again. Realised that we can't buy this, can't buy that. So I made one bit. Then in the end, I don't know what I've got. 400 parts we make now, nearly a whole bike, even down to the frames. If someone wants the frame, not a problem. Yeah, so it's just took my life over a little bit. Yeah.
Brilliant. And how much would something like that cost?
Realistically, I've got it. That one's a lot. I mean, I'm probably into it for £12,000. Very hard at times at the moment. People haven't got that sort of money. I mean, I've got a couple here for less money, which show me £12,000, but haven't sold today at 9,000. But yeah, I just want them on the track. So, I mean, once in one of my collections, what I haven't got anymore, I had over 100 of these, but they've gone. Yeah, they're all on the track somewhere.